In the high-stakes world of the NFL, trades are the currency of hope. They reshape franchises, define careers, and alter the trajectory of Super Bowl windows. But rarely does a trade collapse in such a spectacular, catastrophic fashion that it threatens to derail the entire offseason for multiple organizations. The saga of Maxx Crosby's failed move from the Las Vegas Raiders to the Baltimore Ravens is not just a story about a failed physical. It is a tale of broken trust, financial disaster, and a level of dysfunction that has left the rest of the league absolutely furious. On Friday night, the NFL world believed a blockbuster had been finalized. Adam Schefter reported the news that sent shockwaves through the league. Maxx Crosby, the elite pass rusher and heart of the Raiders defense, was heading to Baltimore in exchange for 2 first-round draft picks. It was a steep price, but for a Ravens team chasing a Super Bowl, it was a necessary gamble. For the Raiders, it was a chance to hit the reset button with massive draft capital and salary cap relief. The deal was agreed upon. The paperwork was pending only the start of the new league year and a standard physical. In the eyes of the public, the media, and most importantly, the players involved, this was a finished transaction. Maxx Crosby certainly thought so. Over the weekend, he posted an emotional 13-minute farewell video to the city of Las Vegas. He spoke about his heart and soul, his excitement to join Lamar Jackson, and his singular focus on bringing a championship to Baltimore. By Tuesday, he was posting Instagram stories from Baltimore, having mentally and physically relocated his life. Then, on Tuesday night, the bomb dropped. The Ravens backed out. The medical controversy, a convenient excuse. The official reason given was a failed physical. However, this explanation has been met with skepticism and outright anger by executives around the league. The issue cited was Crosby's knee, specifically a meniscus injury that required surgery on January 8th. The problem with Baltimore's justification is that this injury was not a secret. It was documented public knowledge. The Raiders had placed Crosby on injured reserve in late December. Ian Rappaport had reported on Super Bowl Sunday that the surgery was a meniscus repair, a procedure with a known recovery timeline of 3 to 4 months. Every general manager in the NFL knew this. When Baltimore offered 2 first-round picks, they did so with full knowledge of his medical history. This is why the fallout is so toxic. A physical is usually reserved for discovering unknown long-term threats, a degenerative condition, or a structural issue that wasn't disclosed. By backing out over a known injury with a standard recovery timeline, the Ravens have been accused of pulling the rug out from under Las Vegas. As one physical therapist noted, Crosby is only 2 months post-op. Of course he couldn't pass a rigorous physical yet. He likely can barely squat. The consensus among rival executives is that Baltimore simply got cold feet and used the medical exam as an escape hatch, a move that breaks the unwritten code of front office conduct. While Crosby faces the embarrassment of returning to a team he just said goodbye to, the Las Vegas Raiders face a potential financial apocalypse. The moment the trade was agreed to on Friday, the Raiders operated under the assumption that Crosby's massive $30 million salary was off their books. Suddenly flush with over $120 million in projected cap space, the Raiders front office went on an aggressive spending spree. They didn't just dip their toes into free agency, they dove in head first. Reports indicate the Raiders committed to over $280 million in contracts. They signed center Tyler Linderbaum to a staggering 3-year, $81 million deal. They brought in pass rusher Kwity Paye for $48 million, linebacker Quay Walker for $40 million, and Nakobe Dean for $36 million. They re-signed their own talent, handing out millions to Eric Stokes and Malcolm Kuntz. This aggressive rebuild was predicated entirely on the savings from the Crosby trade. Now, with the trade voided, Crosby's $35.8 million cap hit is back on the ledger. The Raiders, who thought they had a war chest, are now scrambling to make the math work. While they can technically absorb the contract and honor the new signings, it leaves them with a razor-thin margin to sign their incoming draft class. The clean, strategic rebuild has turned into a chaotic scramble to balance the books on a Tuesday night. For close observers of the NFL, Baltimore's decision, while shocking, fits a historical pattern. The Ravens organization is notorious for its strict adherence to medical evaluations. They do not care about optics, they care about risk. Adam Schefter highlighted this history, noting that in 1997, the Ravens backed out of a deal with the Cowboys for Marion over a shoulder issue. In 2018, they famously voided a 4-year, $29 million contract with receiver Ryan Grant over a failed physical involving his ankle, a decision that was heavily criticized at the time. This is part of the Ravens' DNA. If their doctors raise a red flag, the deal is dead, regardless of the handshake agreements or the public relations nightmare it creates. They prioritize long-term asset protection over league friendships, a stance that has saved them from bad contracts in the past, but has now burned a massive bridge with Las Vegas. The aftermath. Where do we go now? The situation has created a chaotic ripple effect across the free agency market. Maxx Crosby is technically a Raider again, but the relationship seems irreparably damaged. How do you welcome back a captain who publicly declared he was all in on another team? The Raiders are now desperate to trade him again to clear the cap space they need, but their leverage has evaporated. Every other team in the NFL now knows two things. The Raiders are desperate to sell. The Ravens' medical staff saw something they didn't like. This combination is a disaster for Crosby's trade value. The 2 first-round picks are likely off the table. The Dallas Cowboys, previously the second highest bidder, have reportedly moved on, turning their attention to Rashawn Gary. The Bears, Bills, and Eagles, teams that were interested, have all made other moves during the frantic opening days of free agency. The market is shifted, and the Raiders are left holding a distressed asset. As for the Ravens, they may emerge from this chaos unscathed. Reports suggest they are now pivoting to sign Trey Hendrickson, a Pro Bowl pass rusher who costs them 0 draft capital. If they land Hendrickson, they keep their picks and still get their elite edge defender, proving that their ruthless business strategy, while unpopular, might be effective. The collapse of the Maxx Crosby trade is a stark reminder that in the NFL, nothing is official until the ink is dry. It exposes the fragility of off-season planning and the brutal nature of the business. The Raiders are left to pick up the pieces of a shattered salary cap strategy. Maxx Crosby must navigate the humiliation of a premature departure, and the Baltimore Ravens have once again proven that they will act in their own self-interest no matter the cost to their reputation. The 2024 offseason has officially gone off the rails, and the league will be feeling the aftershocks of this failed physical for months to come.